You don't have a competitive advantage over me because I can buy the same list. I don't have a competitive advantage over you. So we're on even ground, right? The one that we really love is delinquent property tax homeowners. People who miss a payment, a property tax payment, that was on purpose. That's because they have other financial things going on. It does zero bit of good for you to start getting good off market leads if someone can't teach you all the different things that a homeowner or property owner may say to you. So that number one, you go into the conversation prepared, but number two, you know what to say. Do you have something in place that gives you predictability, and that predictability affords you to control what you want to do on your calendar 100% of the time? Success to me is controlling your calendar 100% of the time to spend time with family, the people you love, and fill your calendar with all the things that you love to do. The biggest challenge is the individual's mind, like it's saturated. People have a head start. They have a bigger marketing budget.
What's going on, guys? We have the pleasure of having Jason with us today. Jason, I know you've done a lot in your time in real estate, but I want to get a little background on you. What initially got you to get into this niche?
So the real estate investment sandbox for me personally started with going from college to doing what I do to real estate investment, meaning I'm one of the few humans on earth that actually used the degree they went for and actually started working in that field. When you get done, people, I got this degree, but I do this. I got a degree in finance and I wanted to go into banking, and I settled into loan origination, specifically focusing on specialty real estate investment stuff. So it was pretty simple for me. About a year into doing that, I saw the value in investors because they do repeat business, right? Instead of regular stuff. What was happening was that I learned every program there ever was for real estate investment. So where people felt stuck, I'm like, no, there's this weird bank, out of Saskatchewan that will do this that they just didn't know about, right? But here was the thing. I would leave the closing, they'd high five me. They'd walk out with 50, 60 grand in hand. I'd close the deal and make 2-3 grand. I'm like, I got a degree in finance. That math doesn't work for me. And so I realized I've got the funding, so why not invest? So I kind of switched over to investing. And then from there, I realized he or she who can produce the most good off-market leads would win. So then I dove into that. And then that's when the TV shows and stuff like that started coming and, hey, teach people how you generate leads. But it first started with them approaching me saying, hey, you can get financing that other people seem to get stuck on. So they started there. And then one of them said, hey, you closed 23 contracts last month. How did you do that? And I said, well, for the last 6 years, I've been focusing on testing marketing 100 different ways, let the chips fall and see what wins. And that's how I went from, investment funding to speaking for those companies because they had a need that they needed to fill for their students. And then me investing for 26 years now and working with hedge funds to get a lot of property quickly. So that's kind of how it all came about.
That's awesome. And what was your life like before real estate investing?
I was closing 50 loans a month. So my life consisted of waking up, grabbing a coffee, walking in, having my office say, hey, your first appointment's already here. And I would have 10, 15 appointments a day and just lived at the title company, waiting for bank docs to show up at the title company to close a client after. So I literally worked 10, 12-hour days just doing that nonstop, and then spending time with family and watching a little football, which I enjoy. So that's what my life looked like before real estate investment.
Awesome. And for those that don't know you, what does your business look like today?
My business looks like today, so we do build outs for clients and also my internal team. We're in 138 cities actively right now as we're shooting this. And what we do is we just bleed through cities with 34 different lead flows. Most investors have 1 or 2 lead flows. We have 34 that lead back to our doorstep and also our client's doorstep. So in today's world, we close out transactions. 7 out of 10, we just wholesale. We look at it and go, do we want this or not? If we don't, we just wholesale it out. And then the ones we keep, we'll either fix and flip or we'll keep it for cash flow. My favorite cash flow is just doing vacation rental stuff. But I always tell everybody, no matter what you do, where it lands, he or she who has predictable daily workflows to get to everything first will win. So we focus on the front end of the business to fine tune and tweak and beat everyone everything, because that's why these big companies hire us, is like, hey, we don't want to compete with regular investors in a city that we decide to invest in. People have a 1 or 2 pound lead flow blanket, throw a 34 pound lead flow blanket over the marketplace and suffocate it and bring it all to us. So that's kind of what it looks like for us.
For someone that is only utilizing 2 or 3 channels, what's the main difference? And obviously more leads is what I'm assuming, but what's the difference between that versus your, 34 leads or for lead, generation models. I mean, like, what's the difference in that as far as company size? Like, what do you need in place to do that?
That's a good question. So, what I would tell you is this. We'll attack a city 34 ways that you just mentioned, right? And most people have one or two. Here's the difference. Even if you have two or one or three or whatever it may be, maybe we do those three as well, right? I always tell everybody this: you don't have a lead generation problem. You have a can I engage this type of lead the right way problem.
Mm,
So what we do is we problem solve with that type of lead in mind and test it 100. Like one of the lead flows we've tested over 212 ways. And so, like, one example to really anybody who hears this to have you fully understand. So the difference is this: where you may have one or two, we just simply have more opportunities. But then also on top of that, not all lead. I this is a phrase I didn't know it stuck a long time ago, but over the years, people are like, oh, that makes sense. Not all lead flows are created equal. Meaning, you and I could go buy a vacant list in Wichita, Kansas, where I know you are, right? I'm down here in St. Pete, Florida. You don't have a competitive advantage over me because I can buy the same list. I don't have a competitive advantage over you. So we're on even ground, right? So not
mm,
all lead flows are created equal from the standpoint of most investors don't know to do certain things to produce contracts, or what I call easy contracts. So where they're not created equal, some of them are easy. Like one example is when we set up shop for a client, one of 34 ways that we do it. And it's all built in an operations map. So there's nothing to remember. It's all documented, right? But we'll say, hey, you're effective immediately. We're going to set up co-op relationships with 4 junk removal companies. And
mm,
the reason why we do that for our clients is like, we always ask them, when do you want to lead? And they're like, I go, how about at the exact time somebody wants to remove junk? Because people don't do that for fun. And they're like, that makes sense. And so we tell them, if you set up a co-op with the junk removal company and tell them I'll pay you $2,000 every time a homeowner, you just say, hey, if you're going to sell, I have a good friend that I work with that named Jason at Allied Property that'll just make you an offer if you're going to sell it. Every time they say yes, I buy it, you get $2,000. So on top of your bid, every time you go out, I'll give you $2,000 when I buy it. And then also, if you don't win the bid, I'll put in writing that you still win the bid to remove the junk. But here's the byproduct, if you're listening to this, is this: I am only bothered now. First of all, that lead generation, that my marketing budget for that is $0.0, cost me nothing. 2, I'm only ever bothered with a text message or email when a homeowner wants an offer today, right now, right?
yeah.
So that's where not all lead flows are created equal. So what that means is that if you have lead flows that are instant, stuff like that, like 4 or 5 different ways that we grab deals off of the number 3 website, Facebook, number 3 website in the world for free. Those take 10 seconds to execute. They cost nothing. So when you start to layer in all these different ways that are instant, that don't cost XYZ money, on top of the other things, other lead flows that you do that cost money, like the TV stuff you do, or some of the specialty mailing stuff we do. In totality, if you wake up every day and brew a coffee and you know that before the day even kicks off that you have 34 lead funnels that are activated that come back to you, real estate investing isn't hard anymore. And a lot of what we do is incoming. So it's an incoming lead, as you know, on the TV stuff that you do. It's an incoming lead. That's a very, very good lead. So when I say not all lead flows are created equal, that's what I mean. Like you and I could get the vacant list and start calling. You and I both know if there's 1,000 on there, 998 of them are going to say to pound salt, beat it. Don't know who you are. Why you even calling me? That's a longer road to get a deal. There's much easier ways that are instant to do it that most investors simply don't know to do. The typical thing that we get when we do what we call a 2-day blueprint build out is that investors that have been doing it 10 years, 15 years, or brand new investors that say, show me a predictable workflow to do it right from day one. When we're done, they're like, I've never even heard of 15 or 16 of these. Like, that's crazy. And I always tell people, but what does that mean? That's an easy phrase to say. What does it mean though? And I let them think through it. They're like, well, if I've never heard of it and I've been doing it 15 years, maybe I won't have any competition in that particular lead sandbox. I'm like, now we're best friends. Now you understand.
That makes sense.
Yeah, right. If you're all of a sudden getting leads where people are ready to roll and no one else knows to do it, that's easily in any one of those lead flows that I'm just kind of mentioning. That's easily 8 deals a year with little to no marketing budget. Anywhere from 8 to 12. Now stack those and I'll show you somebody that closes deals predictably, wakes up excited about the day. And now you're doing things that hedge funds do that they don't want you to know about. I had some of those companies say, like, offer to cut me checks. They're like, hey, let's not muddy the water and show individual investors how we're doing this. And I'm like, well, if I can partner on deals with people, why why wouldn't I do it? And they didn't have an answer for that, obviously. So that's the difference lead flow wise.
Want to get motivated sellers that nobody knows about? Introducing 10x TV. If you want to create credibility in your market, find deals that nobody else knows about, and crush your competition, you need to check into TV commercials. It is the new buzz in the real estate investing industry since we introduced it several years ago. I've been using TV commercials myself for the last 12 years and it's absolutely crushed it. So if you want to learn how to get on TV and to do something that little to no people are doing right now, go to claimmymarket.com. Again, that's claimmymarket.com. We usually only work with 2 investors per market, so if you're interested, reach out to us and book a call to see if you can claim your market before anybody else does. Now back to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, even the one you just mentioned, I mean, junk removal, I would have never thought of that, but now that you say it, it makes 1000% sense.
Yeah, it's easy
So,
money, right? Like the one that we really love is delinquent property tax homeowners, right? People who miss a payment, a property tax payment, that was on purpose. That's because
yeah,
they have other financial things going on. So in any city or any state you choose, there's 120,000 people that have, on average, that have missed a property tax payment. So again, no one has a lead problem. We show you how to only go after about 5 to 10% of those, but most investors, as you know, would reach out to them. And if they're smart enough to do it, I applaud them, but they all do the same thing. Hey, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, didn't know if you'd be interested in selling your property and I want to give you some money before you lose it at tax sale. Well, they've heard that 15 times. They view you as just trying to take their house. So what we've done over the years is developed, let's give them a reason to call us. So we don't have to cold call. We don't like shoot 10,000 texts, and go down that nightmare path. Those same homeowners will receive info from us that sounds like this, because we build out for our clients a full-blown tax care program that's centered around state property tax laws. So they'll get a letter that says, hey, we notice you're behind on your state property tax. At our tax care organization, we help pull funds together to pay those delinquent taxes for those who qualify. If you'd like to see if you're eligible, call us at, visit us at, email us at, and reference tax assistance code TAC 424001. Sincerely, Jason, Eligibility Department. What happens is they call and say, hey, tell me about your program. There's a code here. How does it work? And we say we do a 2-2-3 method, which we've developed over the years, which is give me 2 minutes. That's a 2. Give me 2 minutes. Tell me how you got behind and what the situation is. Give me 48 hours. That's the second 2 days. And we have 3 separate ways that we can help you. We exist because we don't think this process, tax sale process, is fair. The state treats people unfairly, and they will spill their guts, tell you everything. And it's easy to create contracts and win-win deals when on the very first phone call, you know what their real problems are, which most investors never get a lead to tell them that stuff. So that's why I say not all lead flows are created equal. It's, can you engage them the right way so they know why they should be talking to you? And then everything beyond that becomes academic and easy.
yeah. It's almost like, we don't want you, so now you want us type of thing. I mean, when someone calls and acts salesy or sounds salesy, I mean, your instinct is to run. So it definitely makes sense for sure. Why do you think a lot of investors
go ahead.
overlook this part, or maybe they just don't know about it? But why do you think people have never heard of it?
I would say in the politest way possible, these hedge fund level clients, like I have one coming into town next week, and they're wanting to deploy an amount of capital that if I verbalize out loud, people freak out, right? So why they don't think of these things or whatever, I'd be blown away if you did, for this reason. When we get hired to average 50 properties a month, I can't miss an easy deal. I can't do things the same as everybody else because that's a lot of pressure. That's why I always say, when people come and say, hey, would you like to do a 2-day blueprint and tell me more information about it? And they're like, I'd love to get to 5 closings per month consistently. I'm like, pick a date. When do you want to start? Because I'm tasked with doing 50. So when you ask, why don't people think of this? They haven't had their feet to the fire and have to average 50 contracts in a month. That means there's 30 days. You have to average more than 1 contract a day. I do not have the luxury to do the same stuff that everybody else does. And so it's just, that stuff was born over the years out of necessity. I mean, we're On the larger client end of things, the hedge fund level clients, I mean, we're at 2 decades in that now. And all I did, I'm not magical. I use their massive marketing budgets to test things 100 different ways,
Yeah.
pay attention, and see what wins without a budget. So all I've been doing is fine tuning how to do it with the smallest budget possible for 20 plus years at this point. So that's why I would tell you people haven't thought of it. That they haven't woke up, put their feet on the floor and go, oh my goodness, oh crap, I got to do 50 contracts this month. That's why.
Yeah. What do you think the most common misconception is about what you offer?
Oh, no one, it's very rare that somebody asks me a question like that. So it's on my end, it's a real simple answer. Misconception is, well, man, I would love to get more lead flow than anybody I ever shake hands with for the rest of my life. But man, that seems way out of my league. That seems like you need a staff of 5, 10 people. That's the biggest misconception. They're like, hey, I'm a one-man band or a one-woman band, or it's just me and my partner. We've got everything documented. Anybody that hears this, to get to 5 closings a month, you don't need all 34 lead flows. I would tell you 10 or 11 are the easy ones. You can close every single month. So the misconception is that you need to have 2 or 3 people working with you to execute. It's built a la carte, meaning do the ones at your own pace that you want. You start getting close. What happens is once we take on a client, they start closing 2, 3 deals a month. Then they'll text or call me because we give permanent help, and they call and say, hey, Jason, I've done 3 a month, 3 months in a row. What do I need to do to get to 5 or 6? And I'll say, okay, we're going to activate these 2 lead flows, these 3 maybe, and we'll do that for 120 days and see if we hit the 5 barrier, 6 barrier, right? So the misconception is that you think you need to work with a bunch of people to get to 3 or 4 or 5 closings a month. Because if you want to get to 50, you can. No one can stop you from doing that. But yes, you would need people on your team. But that's the biggest misconception, is that you can't do this on your own. Most people that come to us do it on their own, and then they graduate over time. And I tell them the natural barriers they're going to hit. So they walk around with high level understanding when we're done. Like, hey, I always joke around. Hey, I'm willing to bet you won't get above 7 closings by yourself. They're like, what? I'm like, I've already seen this life cycle for 26 years. Once you hit about 7, things will start to slip. So then that's when you call me and say, hey, you're right. And then I'll say, let's add a person on for 15 hours a week, because I think that'll get you to 10 closings. So I know the growth pattern, and we can help people with that. So you've heard the phrase, been there, done that. So I know where they'll probably hit a ceiling. I know what to do to push through that ceiling very deliberately, very methodically.
That's awesome. Obviously, there's a lot of people that call themselves real estate investors, and then there's people doing a lot of deals. What do you think separates the entry level investor to a high operator that's doing a bunch of deals?
Daily workflow and process. It's real simple. Somebody taking it from a hobby to a full-time business to predictability. Quite honestly, that's just daily workflow and process. Like, the first thing that we do is inside the operations map, we click open something called the perfect investor day. So we say, hey, do this 30 times, copy this, go here, paste that. It'll take you 6 minutes. Secondly, we do this. Here's why. Do it 25 times. It'll take you 9 minutes. So we have all those things in place to help people. I always say, stop trying to get deals. Get really good at running your daily workflow. And I know what happens. I know the byproduct of you doing that well. If you stop worrying about deals and become world-class at a daily workflow that you can get done in about 2 to 2.5 hours, I know you'll close a lot of contracts. So from somebody taking it from a hobby to a full-time business, it's just process and workflow. And then whoever you folks, you're learning, if you're listening to this podcast, whoever you just work with somebody, right? Work with us, work with you, work with someone. But all I beg people, I'm 30,000 plus investors trained. I'm 32,000 property acquisitions for these hedge funds in. So I've been doing this a long time. Work with somebody, but work with somebody that can teach you negotiations. It does zero bit of good for you to start getting good off market leads if someone can't teach you all the different things that a homeowner or property owner may say to you. So that number one, you go into the conversation prepared, but number two, you know what to say. Like
Right.
as an example, if I was on the phone with you and you said, "Hey Jason, thanks for the call, but my house isn't for sale," I would immediately with him, well, "Hey, I understand that. So if you could bear with me, even if I can overpay, if this is an area that we like, this is one of two of them. If you tell me what you want, I might be able to meet that. So even if I can overpay," so most investors are back, well, okay, you're not for sale. I'll follow up with you. If anything changes, call me. And that's all they know to do. Well, if you're prepared, because 28% of the time they'll say not for sale, and you say, even if I can overpay, you've already graduated from not for sale to them thinking about what would I want for the property. And whatever number they tell me, I say, I might be able to do that. Could I see it? Could I have somebody come by and see it?
Mm.
So it's teaching negotiations wise to be prepared. So whoever you folks work with, if you're listening to this, just find somebody that can teach you. Like there's 14 different things that are typical that property owners say. So we call it the seller waltz. There's 14 different things that a seller would say that we prepare people for and say, hey, I understand that. What if we work together this way? Oh, that makes sense. What if we did it differently? So all those little phrases, and we teach you the number one rule is a seller always wants 500 grand. You're at 450. If that's the common thread, be prepared for that. What do you do with it? So if you can get to everything on the front end and you know how to talk to them on the back end, then that's where I will show you somebody that will graduate to doing this full time, or if they're already doing it 10 years or 15 years, taking somebody from 3 closings a month to 10 to 12. It's the process and knowing what to do on the front and the back end of it. And then it becomes academic. Then it becomes easy. Then it becomes second nature.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, a lot of people watching and a lot of people in general would probably call you a successful man. But when it comes to the word success, what does it mean to you? How do you define it? And how do you strive for that every day?
I've been asked that over the years, and you can get all these different answers. The biggest one for me, like, here's where I would tell everybody that you should wake up, look in the mirror and go, okay, I've done what I wanted to do. And I should feel like a success or successful, is that, do you have something in place that gives you predictability, and that predictability affords you to control what you want to do on your calendar 100% of the time? Because some people want to travel more. I like to travel. It's on my arm. See the airplane? That's from traveling and speaking and approaching 20 countries and counting. That's what I love. That's what I enjoy. I can do that anytime I want on my calendar because I've built a predictable business that closes me deals, that produces revenue. So I would tell you that success to me is controlling your calendar 100% of the time to spend time with family, the people you love, and fill your calendar with all the things that you love to do. And some people say success is getting to $2 million. $2 million does not make you happy.
Yeah.
That's insane. If I handed somebody $2 million, they'd immediately be happy. They would stress about, well, now what am I going to do next with it? So that doesn't make you happy.
Right.
It affords you to breathe easier. But I would tell you success is, if you boil down everything that you could or want to do, everybody's different, right? And likes different things. If all of us say, I control my calendar, if I gave the gift of you get to choose what you do because everything's covered for the rest of your life on your calendar, then I know on the other end of that, happiness and what it looks like and feels like, right? If you do the right things, that's what it can look like. That's what success looks like to me.
Yeah. It's the freedom aspect of it. I love it. Yeah. What do you think the biggest challenge you're seeing in real estate right now?
My two favorite things are, everybody's doing the same thing. So the biggest challenge if I never hear this for the rest of my life, my career. I tried to retire a few years ago, folks. My family's like, I was like, hey, you want to golf? You want to do? They're like, go back to setting up shop for people and helping them and teaching them and working with them. So, and retirement didn't look good for me.
I'd go golf with you whenever you want, by the way. So if you need a
All
golf
right.
partner, I'm there.
Yeah. So if I never hear this ever again, um, hey, man, I just feel like there's so much competition. My market is saturated. Like, I should just wear a shirt that says, I don't care if your market is quote unquote saturated. Somebody's going to, when people say that to me, I'm like, wait a second. And I'll pull up their market for them, or I'll go on Chat GPT. I'm like, oh, so Charlotte is saturated, or Dallas is saturated. I just pulled up on Chat GPT. It says in the last 90 days in Charlotte, there were 6,412 transactions. Are you trying to tell me that in 90 days, you can't have 8 of those? There's no deal. I'm like, is that what you're trying to tell me? When I hit them with data, because data doesn't lie, it tells the truth, then all of a sudden they start saying different things. So I would tell you that the biggest challenge is really in the individual's mind. Like, it's saturated. People have a head start. They have a bigger marketing budget. 18 of the lead flows out of 34 that we set up for people are free. They cost $0.0. So we're known for suffocating the city 34 ways without a big budget. So just all those things are categorically untrue. Now, there is challenge that there are a lot of people in today's world that want to invest in the same city you do, but then it boils down to what I said earlier. Do you have a way to engage these leads better than they do? You don't. There's no shortage of off-market leads. Can I engage this lead flow better than somebody else? The answer is yes, you can. And your investment business becomes easy when you realize that if you get good at that, everything else falls into place. So the challenge is, in most people's mind, they feel like it's saturated. And I always say, when a big company hires me, they don't ask my opinion. They dictate. They tell me what city. They literally tell me what city that I'm supposed to set up shop in, quote unquote, saturated or unsaturated. And it's my job to beat everyone to everything. So I just don't agree with that floating around in the. It might feel like that, but it's not true. Categorically untrue.
Yeah. The whole new word and everyone's raving about is AI. Do you use AI in your business? And obviously you mentioned chat a couple times, but what do you use AI for, and how do you think it's going to affect real estate in the future?
Well, and I'll specifically speak to a lot of people who are getting started. Okay. Where AI can just help you not slow down. I want everybody to run a perfect daily workflow. That's why we called it the Perfect Investor Day, because that's what I set up for these companies, is they're like, tell our employees what to do, right? And so where AI comes into play is you can run your perfect day well and be done for the day. Have a great dinner that evening. But where AI comes in is that some, paralysis by analysis, paralysis, whatever anybody likes to say. You folks overthinking. AI can run comps for you. You should never, is this a good enough deal? Is this a good enough deal? You can go to AI, you can go to Perplexity, you can go to Grok and say, hey, run numbers like a world-class investor, run numbers like the top agent in America. And does all the research, and then just reply with not good enough, go deeper. And you can come down to a value within a matter of 60 seconds. So if now you don't have to overthink of what the value or would-be value is on a property if it needs a little work, that's off the table now. That allows you to keep your foot on the gas to just keep the leads coming in and running a perfect day over and over and over. So where I see AI coming into play, like immediately right out of the gate, is just running numbers for you, so you feel confident that you're making a good enough offer, or that you're not making an offer that you paid too much. Okay, yeah. And so that's where I see it. I see all the time, and we use this stuff too because I track it. Where it can negotiate for you. I have yet to see AI that negotiates better than you having a casual conversation with the homeowner. Because no matter how good that stuff gets, the voice inflection, the right pause, AI won't pause at the right time. So that's one of the things where I think there's, massive room for improvement. But you, as anybody hearing this, you as an individual person, you like, if you know what to say to a homeowner and the 14 things they could say, real estate investment, your heart doesn't beat differently anymore. That's where the business comes into play. But on an AI side, running numbers, putting together an offer, they can do all that for you. And so you don't have to worry about that stuff. That's where I see it really real world, be able to impact your business so that you don't slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were to restart from scratch, you get to keep your knowledge and everything you've learned over the past many years,
Yep.
but the business goes away. You were to restart, what would you focus on first?
That's an easy question and unfair to the rest of the marketplace. I get paid to track lead flow performance. So I know which one out of 34 produces the most income for us. So um, I would go back in time, slap the old Jason around a little bit, and be like, hey, I know you're all gung ho about these vacants. I know you're all gung ho about these high equity absentee owners. I know you're all gung ho about this. Hey, but these lead flows over here are way faster conversation to contract. Let's focus on these. So all I would do is divert my attention to the lead flows that pay off the fastest with the least amount of effort. So if I had to go back in time, that's what I would do. And if I could go back in time, knowing what I know now, I would create Airbnb before Airbnb was created, right? I love vacation rental stuff. And somebody who hears this right now, because you consume a lot of information, if you're getting started, you're like, well, I heard Airbnb is down 25%. It still outperforms regular rent, folks. So yeah, I used to make three to 3.6 times average rent on my vacation rentals. Now I'm making 2.1, double what average rents are. So yeah, it's down, but it still outperforms that. So I would just tell you, I would focus on the right lead flows. And then the other, flag that I would plant going back in time is I would learn how to negotiate better from day one. Because I would just talk in circles until a homeowner would get tired and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I got that contract. Right now, I'd be prepared for what I know they're going to say to me.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm at 80 and they're at 100, I'll say, hey, what if I could do the 100 if we just partner together? What if I just come in with the money to fix it? Instead of you're at 100, I think it needs 50 grand in work, and then it could sell for 200. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if you were going to fix it up yourself. And then, yeah, that's true. So what if I just partnered with it and came in with 50 to potentially make 50, but I'll give you the 100. I'll put in 50 to make 50. I might even give you 10 grand of that 50. So knowing how to negotiate, instead of being at 80 and 100, and most investors just throw that person in follow up, I'll see if they want to partner with me, because now I don't need to pay 80, 90, or 100 plus 50 to try and make 50.
Yeah.
Right. So my return on investment goes from 30-something% to 80, 90%.
Yeah. That's awesome. What drives you to keep innovating and keep, helping other investors succeed?
Well, what drives me is, like I told you in the meeting next week that I have, they want to deploy capital that the amount of capital starts with a B, not an M. And so that's a 64 city sample size. So that's a big meeting. So what drives me is like, okay, if I've got to deploy that amount of money and they just tell me what marketplace to enter, I have to keep my foot on the gas, testing lead flows that I already know win and beat regular investors. We have meetings called Not Good Enough. So once every 90 days, 60 days, we'll have a meeting called Not Good Enough. Hey, this is winning. This is outperforming. This is the number 2 lead flow out of 34 right now. And the tweak that we made is outperforming the old one by 12%. And we say not good enough. What can we do? What can we tweak? So we have those meetings so that I can outpace, when we get hired, we can outpace regular investors in the marketplace. We did one training, and I don't think I've ever said this before out loud, so this will be fun. So we did a training, and we always ask when we do a 2-day blueprint build out for people, we say, hey, where are you from? Why are you here? We had 6 people from Houston in the front row, and they're like, "We're here because you set up your blueprint for a hedge fund, and we were doing 6 deals a month. We're down to one." And then we found out it was some silly guy named Jason with some silly blueprint from the title company, because the title company said this company's closing 25 deals a month now. They were at 7. And so we're here because we found out it was some silly guy named Jason with some silly blueprint, and everybody started laughing. So for me, it's just innovating to outpace casual investors. And it isn't that we're adding more lead flows. It's, I want that lead flow that maybe other investors know to do, like a vacant or a pre-foreclosure. I need it to outperform anything that regular investors are doing by a 60, 70% margin out of necessity. So that's what drives me is when I put my name on the dotted line, I want performance for these big companies, and they give me the budgets to do it so that I learn how to do it without a budget.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, where can people learn more about you? Where can people, find you if they want to learn more or potentially do a 2-day? Where can people find you?
You can go to the number 2dayblueprint.com. So the number 2dayblueprint.com. And it's got info on there. You could schedule a call, or you can just email me or call me. I know sometimes it freaks people out. I just give out my phone number, but you can call myself or just shoot me a text, and then we can jump on the phone. It's 314-749-3737. Or you can email me, jason@goseejason.com, and just ask for 2-day blueprint information or dates. And happy to help you do this. Like, it's our goal the reason I still do this is for individual investors, is to show them how they can do it full time, and show them how, if they are doing it full time, how they can double or triple their production. So I take pride in that, and I take it personally. That's why I say, hey, you can reach out to me directly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you all for watching. Jason, thank you so much for coming on here and dropping some knowledge. This has been awesome. And even personally, I'm going to take some of those stuff back and see if we can implement it for sure. But I appreciate your time, and looking forward to talking soon. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you, folks. Do it full time.